Hello, my name is Jonathan Dan, and this is my action reflection paper presentation for the winter. Why does this issue matter to you? Women-based violence has been a serious topic for many years, and millions of individuals are being affected globally. Many of these people are not given a voice to speak or the right to take action, which highlights how many institutions and organizations fail to protect and serve specific communities. This issue matters a lot more than people realize, as many friends and family that I know have gone through a very traumatic experience which were due to gender-based violence. I want to be able to express and voice my opinion that not only women, but everybody, regardless of gender, race, color, and sexuality, will be able to have a free will to live autonomously with a safe environment. Individuals should not have to live in fear that they will be harmed or go through abuse, which is why I strongly continue to advocate for issues revolving around violence in any way, shape, or form. Being in the Violence Against Women course has reconstructed my view on the entirety of gender-based violence, giving me a new perspective on how I want to handle this issue in the future. Talking more about how certain people have misogynistic views and that it has become a norm for some individuals in this world has disgusted me further. This harmful way of thinking is the exact reason why we haven't progressed fully as a society, which shows me that we do not only continue to fail women as a society, but as humans. I just think that educating myself and telling others about this situation would be enough, but it has become very clear that more work needs to be done to shift our culture towards fixing women-based violence. This action project was specifically targeted towards males who are not aware of violence and abuse that women have to go through at university. And that being said, for my action project reflection, I will be explaining what the problem is, what I did to make an impact, and what I currently need to do to fix the problem. What's the problem that you're trying to address? This semester, I have taken a different approach based on what I've learned in my class, my experiences, and the influences of my peers. Instead of doing a project alone, I have decided to join a group with Zach and Cody. They worked together before I joined, but we have discussed how we feel about how a certain group of males, not all of them by the way, don't grasp the full understanding of gender-based violence. We want to be able to address the bigger issue at hand and educate male students about incidents, facts of women violence, and procedures we need to take to make York University a safer environment. Based on the surveys conducted throughout 2023's fall's audit, 78% of students have no idea where to obtain information regarding sexual assault reports, nor do they have the knowledge about how many assaults actually happen within a year. The lack of knowledge on this issue can lead to less prevention of women's violence happening on the campus, making many females feel unsafe. Although many males are clueless to this systematic problem in society, gender-based violence issues continue to arise as they are perpetuated by men. We can see that many men have made very derogatory, sexist, or toxic comments towards women, which is unfortunately something that has been normalized within our society. We can also see that there are many other reasons that contribute to women's violence from men, such as a lack of education, the lack of a lead parental figure, traditional gender and cultural roles, and personal feelings. Many men also grow up suppressing their emotions, disrespecting women, and channeling aggression into their everyday lives, which is taught at a young age. These factors create negative internalized values and beliefs that develop a harmful mindset, which continues the cycle of toxic masculinity. The truth is, a lot of women are scared to be around men. I honestly do not blame them at all, and if anything, I completely understand where they're coming from and try my best to even warn women to stay away from men, which is an unfortunate thought in itself. We need to educate ourselves and other men so women don't have to feel this way and they can feel more comfortable. What actions did you take and what impact did they have? My group and I have collaborated and taken action in fighting women's violence in a couple of ways. The first major thing we did was create a website and named our brand MAV, which stands for Men Against Women's Violence. We thought the name had a good ring to it, so we decided to base everything else we created around it. The website we made consisted of information about last semester's findings on an audit, our goals of stopping sexual violence, what we stand for, a survey, and links to primary sources. We wanted to create a website not just to sake for our course, so we put a good amount of time and effort into what type of information we were looking for. We wanted to educate men as much as possible, so we gathered a lot of sources and put it together all in one little information hub. The second major thing that we did was create posters. I was personally in charge of creating posters as I already had experience from making them from last semester's action project. I made a couple of posters promoting the website of Men Against Women's Violence so we could spread as much awareness as possible. The poster and website we created for the cause highlights statistics towards women's violence, common misconceptions, and adequate solutions to what we could do as men to be allies. This initiative was meant to reconstruct men in our society to be more mindful of harmful narratives, promote accountability, and highlight male responsibility in preventing women's violence. The third major thing we did was create an Instagram as a platform to promote our posters and the website on Men's Against Women's Violence. The posts on my Instagram did in fact stir up conversation with my friends from other classes as they would ask questions about gender-based violence, and I was able to have a civilized conversation in a group for about 2 hours with them. To sum up, we essentially talked about themes relating to bystander intervention, consent, hegemonic masculinity, and how to support survivors. By the way, my classmates all consisted of male students, but were very respectful and thoughtful throughout the entire discussion on what we could do better as not only men, but as humans. Through the actions my group and I did to develop a website, create a poster, and spread awareness on Instagram, we managed to start a small conversation amongst our peers. This was a discussion that was not planned, and keep in mind that some of the individuals in my circle have never talked about this issue at all. Now, this isn't anything groundbreaking in terms of making a huge change, but it is a good step in the right direction to help violence against women. By having meaningful, respectful, and healthy dialogues with one another, we could slowly make a difference in creating a new societal norm. To add on, I have taken the initiative throughout the semester to read more blogs, watch more seminars on YouTube here and there, and follow activist accounts to involve myself more in this problem. Watching TED Talks and videos about survivor stories gave me a perspective on things that, as a man, I will most likely never experience, like catcalling, being abused mentally and physically, and having the anxiety of not being safe around people. Not only did this give me a new view on what women go through, but it made me reflect on what I can do better. By contemplating my actions, beliefs, and behaviors as a male, I was able to learn way more about women's violence as I understood the importance of my role to keep people safe in our society. From the very beginning of the semester, I had a good understanding of violence against women and the trauma survivors carried. But I feel as if I understand a lot more and I've learned things to be on a deeper level when it comes to this topic. I, as an individual, may have not been able to do much, but if everyone else has the same mindset and wants to make a difference in their life, then collectively we could all educate ourselves if we truly want to make a change. The last thing, and similar to last semester, we have tried to research different social media accounts and try to get a hold of other students who are doing the same thing. This way, we were able to acquire more additional knowledge and promote our content amongst people within our community. What needs to happen now to continue challenging these problems? So far, there has been a good improvement in comparison to last semester. On my last action project, I wanted to make more posters, create a social media account, and make more people aware of the issue, and I was able to rightfully do so. In this case, it's different as we tried to target the attention of male students to educate them on this issue. What we could do now is increase the intensity of everything we have done so far, as we could create more websites, more social media pages, and more posters. We have already had some decent engagement for the content we put out, but we could have way more if we manage to upscale advocating. A great example is to expand to other popular social media platforms such as TikTok, X, YouTube, Facebook, and more. These platforms are way easier to be noticed on, and they offer a larger audience to view our campaign. Using hashtags will also be a bonus to catering towards an audience that wants to combat violence against women. If you want to go more specific into the type of content that could be created, blog posts, producing edited videos, writing essays, and making a podcast are very well thought out ways to convey a message online in this day and age. The next thing we could do is to host virtual and real life events to increase engagement. Similar to how we had 2 in-class meetups to discuss what we have been doing in the course, we could create weekly workshops and hangouts that allow survivors and individuals to talk about their experiences with one another. Hosting panels, creative workshops, and seminars fosters a safe space to speak your voice and be around like-minded individuals. On certain days that many people won't be able to make it, or if they don't feel comfortable to come so, there will be virtual events that could be hosted in the comfort of your own home. The great part about these online events is that we can reach a larger audience around the globe if they wish to participate. This can give opportunities to collaborate with big organizations, creating a partnership to work together. And whether or not you want to volunteer or work for this cause, the options are very open-ended in helping teach more men about what we can do to foster a comfortable space for women. The final thing we could do is to make an active effort to talk to people who have a different viewpoint in a respectful way to challenge toxic norms. There may be some individuals who completely disagree with the idea of respecting women, which is why we could try our best to help educate these men who think that women shouldn't be treated equally and give them a new perspective. Most of the time, they will not change their mind, and it could stir up unintended consequences. But in the right setting, location, and security, having an open-ended conversation at a protest or event can even change someone's mind. Being able to highlight key points and share relevant information could develop a healthy conversation to change and educate an individual further. And if it doesn't work out, then at least we tried our last step. Conclusion. What key lessons have you learned about making change? This action project has taught me a lot by developing a further understanding of how I can help and educate others about women's violence. With the combination of personal education, fostering healthy discussions, and engaging with people online and offline, I was able to make a small difference within a little community. By targeting male students through posters, social media, and a website, we reached a couple of people to help make a small effort towards changing societal norms. The reality of things is that we need to work harder and create a lot more engagement if we want to make a magnitude of change. MAUV has been a great step in the right direction, and we are going to continue as individuals to create more conversations addressing the root cause, actions we must take, and what we can do now. By making an impact in our university, our efforts will continue past our campuses and possibly around the world. Developing our campaign to keep breaking the cycle, challenging toxic masculinity, and stopping any form of violence will form a community that won't thrive in fear, but in safety regardless of gender, race, and sexuality.